Annyeonghaseyo and welcome to K Online Television podcast. My name is Usha and on today's podcast I will be chatting to you about how I became addicted to K-pop. There are so many good K-pop songs to choose from and so many groups, I struggle to cut them down for this show. I first discovered K-pop 2 years ago, although my best friend tried to get me involved for about 2 years before that. Looking back now, I can't believe I had no interest when she would talk my ear off about so many idols and dramas. I really missed out on 2 years of goods. Luckily, there's the internet. Also, every international K-fan's saviour. I spent so much time in Koreatown in New York that eventually I decided to give K-pop a shot. And thanks to all of my friends' recommendations, I was off to a flying start. Now K-pop takes over half of my life. My first K-pop song was Big Bang, Tonight. This was even before I actually got into K-pop. I just really liked the track, so let's take a listen. So there you have it, and that's from their self-titled special edition album Big Bang. It's a good mid-tempo track, which I think is perfect before a night out. And so we'll move on to the first K-pop song that I downloaded, which was Beast, Good Luck. This was the day I really got into K-pop, but still I insisted I would only like Beast after listening to their whole back catalogue on Spotify. Every time the next song came on, I was thinking, this is my favourite. Oh no, wait, this one. Although Good Luck was their latest hit, and it's just such a complete jam. Those violins in Good Luck get me every time, and that was followed by some classic 21 with Come Back Home. And let's hope YG will give them a comeback soon, but sadly without Minzy. Now, let's talk biases. My first male bias was Gikwang from Beast. This was after I realised that picking a bias doesn't just mean picking the one that you find most pretty at first glance. There's the whole world of variety shows that go hand in hand with being a K-pop fan. And the moment that Gikwang met Senna the Dolphin in Beast Showtime, nothing else mattered. Gikwang has been my ultimate bias from that moment and will always be. He's just the cutest. And then my first female bias was Hyuna from 4 Minute. I generally like more kick-ass female idols, and Hyuna is that for sure. And that was a real blast from the past with Dancing Shoes, back before Beast, when Gikwang was Ace Jr., and Jujun, Yoseb, and Junhyung were his backup dancers. And that was followed by Canvas, which is off 4 Minute's latest mini album. It's a really solid track. Okay, so let's get into my all-time favourite K-pop group, which is Beast. My first group and my bias group. Other than that, I am multi-fandom and I love a lot of boy groups and solo artists. I'm not a big fan of girl groups, but that's just me. Since the Spice Girls, way back in the day, I never really liked any other girl group, even in Western music. Because I'm playing a lot of Beast, I will give you a track from their label mates, B2B. And that was Beep Beep, a more up-tempo track from B2B. But on their most recent albums, they have some really awesome slow jams that everyone should check out. Also, go fall in love with their maknae, Sungjae. He's basically been on every variety show going, so you should definitely watch those too. And I would say at the moment, I don't really have a particular favourite group. I never really change. I have my bias group, which is Beast, if you haven't already guessed that. But following those, I have about 5 million other boy groups that I love, plus a couple of girl groups. But I won't bore you with the list because I could just go on and on and on. So when it's comeback time, I go crazy for all of them, pre-order their albums and all that kind of stuff. Right now, I'm super excited for EXO's latest comeback for their third full album. It's a double title track, The Lucky One and Monster, and the teasers so far have been great. But I'm also really deep into JYJ's Junsu's latest comeback. Junsu has such a unique voice, I love it. He also does a lot of musicals and drama soundtracks, so let him soothe your ears. Now, K-pop is not just about the music and the visuals, it's also the on-point choreography too. I would really like to learn a lot of SHINee's choreography, but particularly Lucifer. Whenever it comes on, you just have to do the fingers move. SHINee always have great and fun choreography. If I was a dancer, I would be all over that. In fact, when I was on the train today, I almost bust out some moves, but I contained myself to just tapping my feet. So, being an international K pop fan is really hard because you can't go to all of the shows that are in Seoul, but there's always a world tour. I've seen a few groups in New York and London, and the latest of those was EXO. They are one of my top groups, and the show was everything that I wanted and more. My best friend and I were really lucky. We were front row, rocking out with our light sticks, thinking we were fluent in Korean and jamming along. Seeing them up close was everything I wanted, and I'm super excited to hopefully go to their Korean and Japanese tours later in the year. Love Me Right was when I was at my most Korean, thinking I was fluent, when I play back my videos. I love the song because they seem really happy performing it, so I'm going to play it for you guys now. The superpowers are back. That was EXO's new track, Lucky One, and go check out the Chinese version too. The first K-pop variety show that I watched was Surprise! Beast's Showtime, and at this point I've probably watched it 10 times over. It's my favourite thing and my go-to when I'm in a bad mood. I also watch EXO Showtime, which is awesome too, and BTS American Hustle Life. The kidnap scene at the start of Hustle Life is the most hilarious thing ever. You guys have got to watch that. Of course, I've watched so many other shows, and there's so many out there, but I won't go into too much detail. But guys, even if you don't like a group for their music, watch some of their variety shows and you'll definitely fall into the trap too. And that was BTS with Save Me off their latest album Young Forever, but they're definitely grown now, but had to have a bit of bangtan. And now let's go to merchandise. There's just so much of it. The first K-pop thing that I ever bought was, can you guess it? A Beast album. It was Beast Good Luck. And a couple of weeks after that, it was Vic's Era, followed by tickets to see 2PM and Vic's. I actually had my first high touch with Vic's, and I'm really still not over it. They're all just so perfect, and it was an absolute dream come true. So guys, go and watch the ADTOY music video and live stages immediately. No spoilers, but it's totally essential to life. So let's see. My life before K-pop. Do I even remember? It was missing new music. I was tired of general pop music and mainly listening to old school stuff, with the exception of Justin Timberlake. That's still pretty true today. Although now I have a constant stream of great new and old K-pop jams to go side by side with so many shows to watch. It's also fresh, fun, and exciting, and there's no going back. And that was a couple of my all-time favorites there. Infinite with Back, and that song got me crazy for them, and they never disappoint. By the way, happy 6-year anniversary Infinite. And let's be real, what is K-pop without Super Junior? When the intro to Sorry Sorry starts, that is K-pop for me right there. And now it's time to get a little bit sad. It's unfortunately all for today's podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed hanging out for my first show and listening along to some of my K-pop journey. It will only get better from here. And be sure to join me on tomorrow's podcast, where I'll be chatting about how I became addicted to K-dramas. 안녕, 친구s!